Good day, participants. Today we would be covering chapter number 8 of CFP2 module. Chapter number 8 is about personal property and liability insurance. So this chapter contains various topics like householders insurance, motor vehicles insurance and society, other liability insurance, umbrella policy, and overseas travel policy. So today in this session we would be covering householders insurance and overseas travel insurance. Let's first talk about the householders insurance. As the name indicates, householders insurance is insurance of the house, the dwelling of a person, the building, the contents in the house, they are all covered. These days we hear day in and day out that there was a burglary in certain town, in certain locality. So definitely people are afraid. Mostly people are living in nuclear families. So there is a great demand for this kind of insurance. In previous times, people used to live in joint families, and so at any point of time, house didn't used to get locked. Now the cities are expanding. There are more open areas, so houses are more vulnerable to theft and burglaries. But let's see what are the various sections of this policy. What are the various coverages which are given under this policy? Burglary and theft is just one of the coverage. So basically, loss to the building and contents is covered. So what other risks or what other perils are covered? Number one, fire, risk against fire, lightning, explosion. These are covered. Explosion can be due to any cause. Then bursting and overflow of water tanks. That's also covered. Many times it may happen. Then aircraft and articles dropped therefrom. Although this is very rare, but this is all covered. Then riot, strikes and malicious act. This is covered. This is also important. Anytime there can be riots, there can be some unrest in the town or in the city. Then earthquakes, natural calamities like earthquakes are covered, subsidence and landslides, they are also covered. So then other natural calamities like flood, storm and tempest. So any damage due to this. And then impact damage by rail or road vehicle or by animal. Sometimes road vehicle can crash into a certain house. So due to that, if there are any damages, that is also covered. So this is one part, that is loss or damage to building due to any of these causes. Second section is loss or damage to the contents. But contents does not include the money and the valuables kept in the house. So regarding theft also, it's defined in insurance company that theft, you cannot say that some articles of my house were stolen. You have to show a forcible entry. It has to be a burglary, or in insurance language we call it a larceny. Somebody should come by breaking open the locks or breaking certain grills of the house or certain walls of the house. Then section 3 says that loss or damage to jewelry or valuables, but not necessarily they are in the house. Even if your lady is wearing them or you are carrying some jewelry with them, so you can cover this section also. Of course, different sections you can cover by paying premium. There is a extra premium for every section. If you don't want any section, you can omit that section. Then section 4 is loss or damage to fixed plate glass by any accidental means. Fixed plate glass means you have a name plate at the front of your house, so that kind of plate glass. Then section 5 says any unforeseen damage to electrical or mechanical appliances of the house due to sudden physical damage or due to sudden mechanical or electrical breakdowns. Remember, it does not cover the depreciation or the normal wear and tear of the appliances. It's just sudden. All of a sudden you had a very high voltage and some of your equipments got damaged. So that thing is covered. Then there used to be a special section. Nowadays it's having relevance in the form, previously it was for VCRs and VCPs. Now we have CD players and So there is a special section for television and you can say video CD player. So that you can cover. Again, it is against fire, against electrical and mechanical breakdowns. Then there is a special section in household policies. Especially all these sections are covered by general insurance corporation companies. But most of the private companies are also covering these sections. There was a special section on pedal cycle. There used to be a pedal cycle for the children. It could be for an adult also. So that is also covered against burglary, theft, against fire, lightning, flood, storm, etc. Then in another section, legal liability of the insured is covered due to any personal accident. So one can cover personal death also. But that is only due to accident. Remember, death against any natural causes can be covered only by life insurance companies, whereas death against accident can be covered by general insurance companies. And general insurance companies do give death cover against accidents in motor policies and even in household policies. So there is a section of personal accident. Then there is also legal liability as per Workmen Compensation Act. That's also sometimes in the house they maybe give domestic servants. So one can cover the injury or death to a domestic servant by this. So all these sections, I said that some of the sections are optional, but coverage against fire insurance is compulsory under household policy. Now let us see what are the exceptions to this policy. What are the things? What are the exclusions of this policy? The things which are not covered. Number one, any damage due to war and allied perils is not covered. If any war is declared and any loss is there, that is not covered. And then wear and tear and depreciation, as I told you, it's not covered. Any consequential loss is not covered. What is consequential loss? Consequential loss means, for example, there was a fire in the house or some impact damage in the house. Due to that, you couldn't cook in your house, or you had to eat outside. So you are claiming that amount also. That had there been no loss, then I would not have eaten outside, or things like that. So these are called consequential loss. As a consequence of the loss, whatever other losses took place, that will not be covered. And nuclear perils, they are not covered. Nuclear perils basically are uninsurable in any kind of insurance. So basically this is household insurance, and in case of any claim, one has to lodge a police complaint, and one has to inform the company within first 14 days of the happening of the event. And accordingly, the insurance company can depute their surveyor or suitable personnel to come and inspect the house. And accordingly, suitable claim can be sanctioned. So this is about householders insurance policy. So mainly we see then in certain housing complexes there are fire control systems are there. So definitely some credit is given to the residents, to the proposals. Now let's come to another kind of policy which is known as overseas travel insurance policy. Here also, as the name indicates, overseas, whenever a person has to go abroad, has to travel abroad, so it covers the person during the stay in a foreign nation. Now there can be various reasons by which Indian resident can go abroad. One is business and official trip. Second, it can be for holiday purpose. Then one person can also accompany his spouse and children. They also can be covered. Then there may be some foreign nationals. They are working in Indian multinational companies or other companies or in embassies. So even they can also avail this policy whenever they are going in their parent countries. So these people are covered. And now what are the various coverages given under this policy? First of all, the period of insurance is 1 year. In the case of householders policy also, because householders policy, overseas travel policy, they are dealt by general insurance company. Here, the period of insurance would be the period of the journey to a foreign country. It could be, the period of journey could be just 15 days only. So the policy would be for 15 days. The period of journey could be for 2 months. It could be the policy would be for 2 months. So you have to specify what will be the date of my flight when I will fly to the foreign country. What will be the date of my coming back. So they have a few margin also. The program, I mean, there is a very little flexibility. but it cannot extend beyond 6 months from the date of the coming date from the foreign country. So, what are the various coverages? Number one is personal accident during your stay in the foreign country. If a person meets with a personal accident, then personal accident or injury, loss of eye, so that thing is covered. So there are certain limits of insurance also. So one has to see from company to company what are the limit of this personal accident sum assured. Second section is medical expenses and repatriation. Medical expenses, for example, a person has gone abroad either for holiday purpose, business purpose. One person gets ill over there, gets sick, and medical treatment in some of the countries is very costly. One cannot afford it, and one has taken a very limited amount of money or limited amount of foreign exchange one is having in the foreign country. So all those medical expenses are covered in case of any such sickness or illness. Normally companies have got tie-ups with their foreign counterparts companies. So one has to inform that foreign counterpart. So they will give the name and contact number of that foreign counterpart. In case of such eventuality, one has to contact that company. So that company will inform you that in which hospital, in which nursing home you have to get admitted, and accordingly your bill payments they will process within themselves. They will then ultimately send it to the original issuing company, insurance company. So the person doesn't have to pay anything over there. And then repatriation. What is the meaning of repatriation? Repatriation means to send back from a foreign nation to the country. Repatriation in case of serious illness. You can't think of, for example, a person had a heart attack over there. So bypass surgery is needed. So all those, they will give the medical treatment up to a certain limit or up to certain days. After that, if they think that it's going to be long-term treatment, they will repatriate the person back to India. So all those repatriation charges, sending back to his original country, would also be covered. Sometimes, unfortunately, it may happen that the person may die out of the illness or sickness. So then the remains of the person, the dead body, would also be repatriated back, will be sent back. So all those expenses which would be borne in that day would be borne by the insurance company. So that is the meaning of repatriation. So again, there are restricted covers. Again, there are certain exclusion in these cases. For example, like pregnancy is not covered, miscarriage, and all these things. There are certain exceptions. So one has to see what are the things which are covered, what are the things which are not covered from policy to policy. Then there is section C in these kind of policies, which is known as loss of checked baggage. Because whenever you're going abroad, you have to, even in domestic flight, you have to give your baggage for checking. But in foreign flights, there are special precautions to be taken. Okay? Now, these days, with the terrorism all over, there are special precautions to be taken. Sometimes it may happen that you have landed in the foreign country, but your baggage have not reached over there. So loss of checked baggage. So in that case, you will, although it's the responsibility of the concerned airline to give you the claim, but if you are insured, then insurance company also pays you over the loss of checked baggage. Then there is another section which is called delay of checked baggage. So delay of checked baggage, for example, your baggage has not reached. Many times it happens that you have reached, your baggage has not reached, so you are either stranded at the airport to receive your baggage, or you have to again and again contact the airline authorities. So if your baggage has reaches in more than 12 hours from your flight, so you are liable to claim the damages of loss of checked baggage. So that whatever you claim, airlines will give, that is extra. So you can claim from your insurance company also. Then there is another section E, which is known as loss of passport. Sometimes it happens because passport is a very important document when you are on foreign travel, and that is also your identification over there. If you don't have your passport, you are like a lost person. Any kind of blame can be charged, and it's basically a criminal activity not to have a passport. So in that case, whatever expenses you have to bear, for loss of passport, so all those expenses would be borne by the insurance company. loss or damage to the passport due to delay or from confiscation or detention by customs, police or other authorities, so that this part is also covered. Then theft which is not reported to any appropriate police authority within 24 hours of the discovery in an official report, this will not be covered. Sorry, the loss of passport will be covered, but if it is confiscated by the customs, police or other authority, then it will not be covered, because then it's due to certain flaw which the concerned authorities have noted. Then personal liability is also covered if due to your presence in a foreign land, if some injuries or some damage to others' property to take place, then you can also claim that liability insurance. Yesterday we talked about liability insurance, so this part is also covered. So there are certain exclusions also in this case. In case a person is traveling against the advice of his physician, his doctor, then and he falls sick over there, then that part would not be covered. Or a person is specially traveling abroad to take medical treatment, this will not come under that domain of medical expenses. Similarly, suicide, attempted suicide, willful self-inflicted injury, venereal diseases, abuse of drugs or alcoholic drinks, that won't come under the domain of this insurance. Similarly, if the insured is taking part in naval, military or air force operations, this will also not be covered. Arising from war, invasion, civil war, nuclear risk, this won't be covered. Similarly, arising from participation in inter-scholastic or professional sports events or other hazardous sports. If a person has gone there to take part in these activities and one gets injured, this will not come under the domain of insurance cover. So this was basically about overseas insurance policy. General insurance companies normally call it as this policy as Videsh Yatra Mitra policy. So the policy will be valid only if the insured journey commences within 14 days of the first day of insurance as indicated in the policy schedule. That is within 14 days of the date which you have given to the insurance company, you should fly abroad. In case if your program is delayed, you have to inform the insurance company so as to make the necessary changes in the policy. And there is a condition that the insurance does not operate beyond a period of 180 days. 180 days is roughly 6 months. So it does not operate beyond a period of 180 days continuous absence from India unless specifically agreed by insurers. Because it's a travel. If you are staying there more than 6 months, then this policy will not be valid. Okay, thank you. Then there is another, you can say, extension of this policy, which is known as corporate frequent traveler policy. There are certain people who fly very frequently, due to some corporate work. So insurance companies, instead of issuing different policies at different times, sometimes it happens. Earlier when I was in a company, we had a foreign national. Our boss was a Frenchman from the collaboration company. So he used to go every month to Paris. So basically, if every month he is going to insurance company to get the policy issued, it will be tedious work for him also, and for the insurance companies also, a lot of administration. So they can issue a corporate frequent travel policy that can be on yearly basis or even more. So there are certain conditions that one trip should not exceed 30 days. Any one trip should not exceed 30 days. And normally all these policies, the maximum age is 70 years. A person more than 70 years cannot avail of any of these overseas travel policies. And to qualify for corporate frequent traveler policy, a person up to 60 years of age need not undergo any medical checkup. However, a person over 60 years of age and below 70 years of age would have to undergo a medical checkup like ECG, blood test, urine test, etc. Similarly, there can be other policy like employment policy, study policy, persons who have gone for study for 1 year, for 6 months. So for short period, somebody has gone for employment, you can say for some deputation, 6 months. So there are separate policies for that. Okay, thank you, participants.